Right, now this is a fascinating invention. It's a gearbox out of an early Lagonda. There's only about 4 of them ever made. This, I've forgotten the make now, I believe the innards, I'll look it up, I'll get the lowdown on it. That gadget there is a clutch, what you're looking at there. Let's get the other half of it. That sits there and that's bolted to the frame, it doesn't move. That's a contact. Buried in there is a copper coil. Let's put it down. When that copper coil is energized, it grabs that, so that can't turn. The inner turns, the outer can't turn, so these gears are rotating now, and as they're rotating, they're going around the inner gears going around like that. These are rotating like so, and it's walking itself around the ring of teeth which is there. So that's a low gear. A high gear is this disengaged. There's a contact down there which must engage another clutch on the inside which locks this cog solid to that. So it essentially works a bit like an overdrive lockup. These gears no longer turn, but because the outside as well as the middle is now turning, this now turns at the same speed as the input. There's no gearing down effect anymore. So effectively it's a 2-speed gearbox. Back there's another 2-speed gearbox. When they're both fully locked up, the output goes as fast as the input. That's 4th gear. When one of the gearboxes is operating with this locked and the wheels going around inside, that will be 3rd gear. The other one will have a different ratio, so when this is locked up, when this is locked turning solid, effectively going back into top, and the other gearbox changes down, that will be 2nd. And then when they're both changing down, which means this is turning and that's not turning, that's 1st. So it's 4-speed gearbox. It's known to be a 4-speed gearbox. There's no reverse on it. The reverse is on the rear axle. This dates from the 1940s. It's electrically operated, and in effect it's the forerunner of the paddle shift gearbox. And it was on a Lagonda made in the 1940s. Isn't that remarkable? Well, I can't remember the name. I'll try and get the name. What is it? What's that say there? There's the plate. Oh, I can't see that. I can't read that. Even I can't read that. Or maybe I'll get the details with magnifying glass. Put it on the listing. Now, basically, when this is turning only and that's rigid, these cogs are running around there, but they're travelling slower than that. So that's geared down. When this isn't locked up and it's spinning, and it's locked up to the middle rather, it's not locked up to the frame anymore, the gears going around there are travelling at the same speed as the input shaft. So that's 2 gears, and that's fast gear. But that's stationary, but this is still going around. Those wheels go around slower because the motion is divided between the two. That's the lower gear. And with, in effect, 2 2-speed gearboxes stacked on top of each other. And we can't get it working because that is rigid to that, and it shouldn't be. It should only be rigid when there's power on it to pull the magnet in behind there. There's one of these coils actually goes round and round in there, and there's slip rings down there, and it should connect that to that when it's energized, but it's connected to it all the time. We think it's just seized because it hasn't run for 30 years. As it happens, the Lagonda switched all these gearboxes out and put ordinary manual gearboxes in. But the reason why this one was still found on the car was because this car went to Africa, and when Lagonda did the recall, they couldn't find it. So this car is the only one in the world with an electrically shifted gearbox. And in fact, while I've still got a bit of film left, let's go for a wander. There's my Prius over there, just say sailed through its MOT, which I'm really chuffed about. 10-year-old Prius has just gone through its MOT. Didn't need anything doing to it. There's the car. That is a Lagonda, a 6-cylinder engine. Interesting, we should mention the Toyota Prius, because in actual fact this is actually very timely, because it's just given me an idea here. If we go back in, the mechanic is a good personal friend. He's at lunch, so I'm now wandering around his workshop. You see that? The Toyota Prius has in it a power split, what's called a power split device. Now that bit there with the sun wheels on it, sorry, the planet wheels, is driven by the engine. The outer is connected via gears to the wheels. The inner is connected to a device called motor generator 1. There is a separate motor generator 2 connected directly to the output that just turns the wheels like an electric car. When the engine is turning, that's the engine. If that is stationary, which because the car isn't moving, all of the power will escape through the middle cog, because this is powered by the engine. They'll spin, so all the power will escape through the middle cog. That drives motor generator 1, which can either charge the battery, or power can be fed to motor generator 2 to drive the wheels. So that's spinning fast, so that's a high voltage but moderate current. Motor generator 2 is not turning, so that's high torque, high current but low voltage, as an electronic converter that converts the voltage. And that conversion between voltage and current is a solid state gearbox. So a Prius is a solid state gearbox with no clutches or variable ratios. It's all done solid state, but it has this power splitter in it. As the car picks up speed, remember this is the car, represents the motion of the car. That's the engine. What actually happens, sorry, that's the engine. That's the engine. That's the road wheels. This is slowed down by motor generator 1, but that's still going. So you imagine that's not turning, it's stuck on the outside. Imagine that's not turning. This is driven by the engine. This is the road wheels. That's not turning. That's being held still by motor generator 1, which means motor generator 2 is no longer doing anything because it's not getting power from the isn't spinning anymore. So in effect, all the power now goes from the mechanical route, from there to the road wheel. So basically it's like a mechanical straight through drive. And of course the energy varies between the two, depending on the various combinations of gears and rotational speeds. There are websites explaining it much better. But isn't it interesting that the modern Toyota is using technology that's not entirely unlike what was around in the 1940s with planet wheels. And funny enough, there's something not entirely dissimilar found in the gearbox of a Model T Ford. So again, it's technology that's been around a while. It's also not entirely dissimilar to what you find in the hub gear of a hub geared bicycle, where you got the gears in the hub rather than not changing the derailleur on the chain. Same thing, it's wheels like this that spin around and around. They roll around each other like sun-round planets, and it's either called an epicyclic gear or it's called a sun and planet gear, because that gear there is the sun and these gears run round it. They're the planets, and there's the ring gear or the annulus. So I haven't got a lot of film left, so I might as well prattle on till the end. So that's basically a diatribe of basically 100 years of gearbox history using planet gears, from the Model T4 to the Toyota Prius. The one we haven't talked about, of course, is the standard automatic transmission, which again uses these things, but it uses hydraulics to lock these outer wheels up rather than the electrics. Yeah, so there you have it. There's not a lot of these gearboxes about, which is why I felt minded to make a film of this one, even though it's we really haven't got it set up. And maybe when we get it going better, I'll make another movie. That's if we can fix it.